The date is June 17, 2006. A man sits at a small table outside a quiet cafe near Saint-Germain-des-Prés in Paris. For 8 long years, he has not known what it means to relax. Suddenly, his mobile phone vibrates sharply. It is an unexpected text from a man he once called a brother. "Brother, go into hiding immediately. There is a spy among us." Accompanying the text is a link to a Time magazine article, an excerpt from an upcoming book titled The 1% Doctrine. The man clicks the link. As his eyes scan the text, his blood turns to ice. The article describes, in stunning, hyper-specific detail, a foiled chemical weapons attack targeting the New York City subway system. It details a compact device called the Mugtacar, the unique invention engineered to be the size of a paint can, and mentions an operational 45-day countdown. And then, his eyes hit the page where the source of the leak is exposed. The author lists his birth name, Ali al-Durrani. Realizing he is reading his own obituary in real time, a second message lights up his screen from his MI6 handler in London. 5 hours. Eurostar. London. Ali knows he no longer has a choice. In safe houses across 3 continents, the very men who would eagerly behead him on camera are reading that exact same article. He has exactly 290 minutes to catch a train, cross the English Channel, and disappear forever. Why is an elite al-Qaeda bombmaker running from the men he swore a holy oath to protect? And what did spending 2,920 days inside the world's most dangerous terrorist network truly cost him? To understand Ali, we must travel back to 1991 in Khobar, Saudi Arabia. A 13-year-old boy stands in the suffocating heat beside his mother's fresh grave. Left entirely alone, Ali fills the silence with reading, burying himself deep within Islamic theology. He is extraordinarily bright. By 13, he has already memorized every word of the Quran, earning the highly respected title of a Hafiz, a guardian of the sacred text. One afternoon, he discovers the writings of Sayyid Qutb, the radical philosopher of modern jihad. Qutb's seminal book, Milestones, speaks directly to the boy's profound isolation and grief. By 15, Ali's worldview has completely hardened. He no longer views himself as a victim. He is a defender of the faith. He is a young man who believes he is owed a war. The war finds him in 1994. He is just 16 when the horrific images of the Bosnian conflict filter through. Serbian forces are systematically slaughtering Muslim civilians by the thousands. To a teenager raised on radical prose, this is a divine summons. Ali steals away from his family, boarding a flight to Sarajevo. He fights on the front lines and survives. But in late 1995, the illusion of his holy war shatters. Ali watches in absolute horror as his own commander orders the brutal execution and ritual mutilation of roughly 50 captured Serbian prisoners of war, men who had formally surrendered and begged for mercy. Ali buries the sudden, suffocating doubt the way all young zealots bury what they cannot answer. Near the conflict's end, a tall, imposing Pakistani man with quiet eyes and a slow voice approaches Ali in a transit camp. The man says there is far more work to be done for the global cause, and it is not here in Europe. That man was Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the future chief architect of global terror. Ali accepts the invitation. In August of 1996, Ali arrives in the rugged mountains of Afghanistan. He trains at the infamous Laden camp, mastering weapons and explosives. But what truly catches the attention of the leadership is his flawless recitation of the Quran. As a Hafiz, his name quickly reaches the very top. In 1997, a formal summons arrives. Ali is driven to a heavily fortified compound outside of Kandahar and told to wait. Suddenly, the heavy door swings open. Osama bin Laden sits directly across the rug from him. Ali looks into the eyes of the al-Qaeda emir and recites the bay'ah, the binding personal oath of absolute allegiance. His voice does not shake. He pledges his life, his death, and his total obedience to the man across the rug. He believes he is balancing the ledger of grief that began the day his mother died. He stands up from that rug, bound by a sacred oath that within 3 short years he will be forced to systematically break in order to save his own soul. By 1998, Ali is a respected authority running intensive theological instruction for new recruits. Because of his intellect, he is also brought into the administrative back office of al-Qaeda's financial network, managing the complex streams and charity front organizations quietly crossing borders. He sits in the inner circle theological debates, where senior scholars argue about which Western civilians can be killed, but his access allows him to see what was meant to remain hidden. He meets the radical scientists working on chemical and biological weapons research. He hears the leadership talk about scale, something cataclysmic designed to incinerate whole populations. Ali logs the horror in his mind and keeps moving. Then, on August 7, 1998, 2 massive truck bombs detonate simultaneously outside the United States embassies in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam. 224 people are killed instantly. More than 4,500 are horribly wounded. The vast majority of the casualties are ordinary, local Muslims simply walking to work on a Tuesday morning. The shockwave shatters Ali's remaining conviction. He goes directly to a senior al-Qaeda scholar and demands an answer to the only question that matters. What is the religious justification for the slaughter of innocent Muslim bystanders? The scholar remains entirely calm, citing a 13th century fatwa written by Ibn Taymiyyah during the Mongol invasions. The core premise states that when a ruthless enemy army advances on a Muslim city and uses innocent Muslim prisoners as literal human shields on the front lines, the defenders must still fire through the shields to save the city from total destruction. Any ordinary recruit would have accepted the explanation. But Ali is a Hafiz. He goes back to his quarters, pulls the original text, and discovers that the fatwa laid down 3 non-negotiable conditions. It requires an active defensive war, an advancing enemy army, and literal human shields placed physically between you and your imminent destruction with absolutely no tactical alternative. Nairobi was not a city under military siege. No Kenyan Muslim was a human shield standing between Al-Qaeda and its destruction. They were simply ordinary people walking past an American flag. Al-Qaeda had taken a historical text describing a desperate defense, removed the context, moved the location 6,000 miles, and called it the same law. Ali realizes that the men he swore his life to are using his sacred religion the way a counterfeiter uses high-grade paper, for the look of legitimacy, not the meaning of the words. And he, the guardian of the text, has been acting as their seal of approval. The psychological break is total, but Ali cannot simply resign. Men who try to walk away are routinely executed and buried in the desert. He carefully fakes a chronic kidney condition that requires advanced medical treatment unavailable in Afghanistan, securing permission to travel to Qatar. He intends to land in Doha, find a quiet job under an alias, and spend the rest of his life begging God for forgiveness. He lands at Doha International Airport in late 1998, but as he steps onto the curb outside the terminal, 3 Qatari intelligence officers block his path, addressing him by his true birth name. They look at him calmly and say, "We know exactly who you are, and we know what you have seen. We are going to give you exactly 30 minutes and 3 options: American intelligence, British intelligence, or French intelligence. Pick one right now." Ali distrusts the heavy-handed methods of the Americans, so he picks the British. In less than 30 minutes, on a humid airport curb, Ali has traded his oath to Osama bin Laden for a contract with Western intelligence. What he does not yet realize is that his new handlers will not allow him to hide. To save his life, he will have to return to the nightmare and pretend the break never happened for the next 8 agonizing years. In December of 1998, Ali steps off a flight at Heathrow Airport in London, where he is met by officers of MI6. They escort him to a secure safe house and award him a legendary codename, Lawrence. For 7 grueling months, Ali talks, handing MI6 the entire internal architecture of Al-Qaeda: financing channels, camp hierarchies, cryptographic communication codes, recruitment pipelines, and specific bank accounts. For the first time in history, Western intelligence possesses a complete, unvarnished picture of the enemy. Ali believes he has earned his quiet retirement. But then, his handlers deliver the ultimate blow. They ask him to go back into the mountains. Paralyzed with fear, Ali spends the night praying on the floor. He thinks about the chemical weapons scientists he met and the senior planners murmuring about a spectacular attack on the American homeland. He looks across the entire Western intelligence apparatus and realizes that absolutely no one else is positioned to walk into that inner circle and stop it. He says yes. In 1999, Ali flies back and resumes his old life in Afghanistan. No one suspects a thing. The 7 months he spent in London are successfully erased as a routine medical recovery in the Gulf. This is the terrifying reality Ali must live with. He is wearing his old extremist self like a rigid military uniform. He embeds himself even deeper into the network, securing a position inside Al-Qaeda's highly classified chemical weapons development program. He analyzes prototype delivery systems and poison gas dispersal mechanics, filing the data away like code in his mind every night. To Al-Qaeda, he is a trusted bomb maker. To MI6, he is the single most valuable asset inside the terrorist network. Through 1999, 2000, and into the fateful summer of 2001, Ali repeatedly reports that Osama bin Laden is completely obsessed with the spectacular, a massive, catastrophic strike inside the United States. Ali does not know the exact targets or the method, but he warns his handlers of the sheer scale of the appetite. The warnings are passed to Washington, but without tactical specifics, they sit unacted upon in intelligence files. On 9/11, 2001, Ali is located deep inside the network. When the news flashes that the planes have struck the World Trade Center, the men around him erupt into wild celebration. Ali is forced to celebrate too. He must clap his hands, laugh out loud, and warmly embrace the very men who have just murdered 3,000 innocent civilians. If his face slips for a fraction of a second, he is dead before sundown. So, he forces a brilliant smile and cheers. Inside his chest, his soul fractures. He has survived the morning, but the psychological cost is catastrophic. Following the subsequent United States invasion of Afghanistan, Al-Qaeda scatters into the wind. Most of MI6's other embedded sources go dark, making Ali's intelligence value triple overnight. He moves with the fugitive leadership and is brought directly into a project called the Muftakar al-Farid. The unique invention. The device is deceptively simple, designed to look like an ordinary gallon paint can. Inside sit two separate canisters, one filled with sodium cyanide, the other with a concentrated hydrogen source. A remote fuse breaks the seal between them on command, instantly producing hydrogen cyanide gas, the exact same chemical compound utilized in Nazi gas chambers. Released inside a confined space, it acts as an invisible killer within minutes. Ali actively helps refine the mechanical design, secretly copies the technical files onto floppy disks, and hands them directly to MI6. The CIA builds an exact working prototype based entirely on Ali's files. In early dose mil trays, intelligence officials carry that prototype into the Oval Office. President George W. Bush picks up the metallic can, holds it, and whispers quietly, "This thing is a total nightmare." The nightmare becomes operational in the spring of Treal. Ali learns that an active al-Qaeda cell has successfully infiltrated New York City with multiple Mubtaker devices, casing the 34th Street Herald Square subway station. The tactical plan is to deploy multiple devices inside crowded subway cars during rush hour, seal the doors, and flood the tunnels. The projected casualties are estimated in the thousands, and the internal operational countdown is set to 45 days. Ali transmits the warning immediately. The intelligence infrastructure across 2 continents lights up with red alerts. Then, at the 11th hour, Ayman al-Zawahiri, bin Laden's second-in-command, personally calls off the attack, transmitting a coded recall message to the American cell. The trains keep running, completely oblivious to the catastrophe that missed them by fractions of a second. Ali has just saved thousands of American lives, yet not a single soul in his daily life can ever know. As the years compound, the internal temperature inside the network reaches a boiling point. The leadership realizes there is a high-level leak somewhere within the weapons program. One afternoon, 3 of Ali's comrades corner him, asking pointed, aggressive questions about his historical travel timelines. Ali realizes he is exactly one wrong sentence away from being beheaded on camera. He forces his heart rate down and leans heavily onto his absolute theological dominance, outquoting them with obscure Quranic verses they haven't memorized. They back down and let him go. Ali walks back to his quarters, sits on his bed, and realizes his face is about to crack. He cannot live on this knife edge forever. In June of 2006, Ali secures permission for a short vacation to Paris. On his second afternoon, sitting at that cafe in Saint-Germain-des-Prés, his phone vibrates. The leaked Time magazine article has published the entire subway plot, exposing his birth name, Ali al-Durrani, to the world. Ali walks, never runs, toward the Gare du Nord and boards the Eurostar train to London. For the first time in prophetic years, he is not playing a character. He arrives at London Waterloo Station, where his MI6 handler meets him quietly on the platform. Behind the scenes, the source of the leak is traced directly back to political circles around the White House. Sources within Dick Cheney's staff had leaked the plot to the press, desperate to put a massive counterterrorism success on the public record. A master spy's life was simply the cost of a favorable news cycle. Al-Qaeda immediately issues a formal global fatwa against Ali, making his execution a sacred religious obligation. He goes deep underground permanently, granted a completely new identity and protected status within the United Kingdom. He marries, raises children, and watches from a distance as the men who took his holy oath are systematically eliminated. On May 2nd, 2001, a Navy SEAL team storms a compound in Abbottabad and shoots Osama bin Laden dead. On January 19th, 2015, a drone strike kills Adam Gaddan, the American al-Qaeda operative Ali had trained alongside. And on July 31st, 2022, a CIA-operated drone fires 2 Hellfire missiles onto a balcony in Kabul, killing Ayman al-Zawahiri, the very man who had called off the New York subway attack 21 years earlier. Ali notes each date from his quiet home in England. He does not celebrate, he simply records the deaths. He is the only person left alive on Earth who knows exactly what it felt like inside that room in Kandahar and what it cost a human soul to stay silent while the world burned around him. He publishes his memoir under the title 9 Lives, representing the 9 distinct versions of himself he had to systematically create and murder to survive. His war is finally over, leaving him as the solitary survivor of a history that everyone else has already forgotten. If this story of double lives and high-stakes espionage has captured your imagination, there is another extraordinary narrative that will finish the job. A legendary DEA agent spent years embedding highly sophisticated informants inside the most violent, untouchable drug cartels on Earth. Until federal investigators realized a terrifying truth. The cartels weren't just his sources, they had secretly become his corporate partners. That video is ready for you now.